I feel like after going through menopause and coming out the other side, like a butterfly coming out of the chrysalis.
Menopause, until I kind of understood it better, it was like sort of menopause, then you die, you know?
Hello and welcome to Second Act, the podcast and community for women in midlife who refuse to fade into the background. I'm your host, Ateh Jewel, and I speak to women in the spotlight about their experience of aging. We have a very special episode for you this week because today is World Menopause Awareness Day. And I am perimenopausal. I remember going to the doctor and seeing him write it down and thinking, who is he talking about? But since then, I have learned so much from my guests on Second Act. So we've collected all the best Second Act menopause wisdom we've had on the show so far. Happy listening.
I guess, I know people have talked about the menopause on this show before, but the menopause does an extraordinary thing, well, to me, but I think probably to a lot of women. I saw it with my own mother, and actually it was what inspired me to get some help, that things that you could manage, it wasn't great, but things you could manage, suddenly you can't manage. So I just couldn't sleep, and the same thoughts revolved round and round in my head. And I remembered my mother in her late 40s suddenly becoming completely unable to shake off the difficulties that came towards her. And she had been so incredible all her life, so powerful. She'd managed to move forward and conquer all the difficulties. And suddenly she had been stopped in her tracks and was also very tearful, as I was at that point. And I remember one day suddenly seeing her, and she was back to herself. And I said, what happened? And she said, I got some HRT. She was someone who would never even take an aspirin. I was amazed to hear this. And she said, you know what, Esther? It was like meat had salt again. And so I remember thinking, well, I won't need to do that because I'm going to have my life totally sorted out. I'll never hit a crisis like you, the young are so unbelievably.
For me, I'll never have Botox. She says getting Botox. Yeah, you say it when you don't need it.
Well,
and then when you need it, you may reconsider.
You're asking yourself the question at the wrong time.
Yes.
That's the thing. So then I remembered her. And so I went and I had an interesting experience. I went to 3 different doctors. And the first 2 said, yeah, you are complete. There's no hormonal changes that are outside the normal graph. First one was like, no, that's just it. The second one said, tell me what's happening in your life. And I sort of said, well, this. And they said, yeah, you know what? You're just having a really difficult life. But I knew I had handled so much in my life, and I knew there was something else going on. So I went to a third person who was a hormone specialist, and she said, okay, so here's normal. Your estrogen is right at the top and your progesterone is right at the bottom. And she gave me actually told me to stop taking some kind of alternative health medication that had estrogen in. Little did I know, because she asked me what I was taking, and gave me some progesterone. And within 3 nights, I was sleeping. My tears had dried up. It's not to say the problems, they didn't vanish, but I could handle it. Oh, I am so grateful. And I feel like that was quite a life-changing moment.
Can I say, do you feel the menopause had an effect on your marriage? Do you think it was part of, do you think it contributed to the breakdown, or the way that you couldn't bounce back? Because a lot of people, they've left their jobs, their marriages, and they say it's a contribution. Do you feel that? Because it is a big deal. We never talk about it.
Yeah, I think that I would say it did propel me to take action. But the truth is, action needed to be taken for both our sakes. So I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. Can you tell us about your experience with it and how it's affected your mental health and menopause?
Gosh. Yeah, when you say what was the turning point of his second act, if it wasn't for motherhood, it would definitely be the menopause. But instead of looking at it as that dreadful thing, talking to younger people going, oh my God, you're going to go through like brain fog and anxiety and hot sweats and messed up periods and all that, to like inject fear into a younger person. I kind of look at it, I kind of tend to do this in any aspect of my life. The glass half full thing is almost like a chrysalis. women are born and wrapped up with the protectiveness of our hormones. The progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone are our shield that enable us to move through life, to protect and look after others around us, to be the mother, the carer, the wife, the one that looks after the home, and that sort of just is that problem solver and that safe place to go to. And suddenly we get to an age where children are growing up, the household is set, the relationship is secure, and then suddenly, boom, 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 those barriers, that shield of protectiveness that those hormones are, the progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone, start fading away. But what happens, just like that caterpillar that turns into the butterfly, we evolve and we come out and we show our true colours. We spread our wings and we're colours of all different natures. We're spotty and we're stripes and we're oranges and pinks, and suddenly we come alive and we become the woman that we always were supposed to be. So I think of it as a kind of rebirth almost.
I love that, and so powerful and positive, because growing up, like as a child of the 80s, menopause was like a thief that was going to come and get you at some point.
Yeah.
You have to look over your shoulder.
Yeah, and life was over. Yeah.
It's coming! It's coming! It's like, oh yeah, dodge it! It's like a bag snatcher.
Yeah, that's what I felt like when it first happened, when I didn't have any understanding of menopause. Yeah. I literally just crashed and burned. And when the doctor decided it was antidepressants was the answer, I was like, okay, just someone take this away. Someone stop me feeling this pain and dread. So I went on the antidepressants, and when they didn't work, I thought, oh, I really am. This is asylum. I'm like, they're going to put me away, because they didn't help. And then finally, I was advised by our ladies on Loose Women that this is menopause, darling. You're
not going mad.
You're not going mad. You're just going menopause.
No.
So there are answers. Of course, everyone is an individual, and it's not always the same map for everyone. But it's just like childbirth and motherhood and all of that. We all find our own way. But for me, HRT was my saviour, and it put me back on track to sort of feel strong again. And to kind of like, it's not the end, this is just a new beginning, and I can forge forward, and I can still give back, I can still be relevant and productive and all of those things.
It's amazing. Well, thank you for speaking about it, because it was a shame that we all grew up with and we didn't talk about it. You didn't want to admit that you were menopausal.
I was like, me? I'm not old enough.
How dare you?
Really, really old people. No, it's like, no, it's not. It can start, the perimenopause can start as early as your mid-40s. Yeah. Or even younger for some people, and those that have gone through breast cancer and had to have surgeries, I mean, they can go straight into it overnight. So once again, conversation, more women talking about their experiences, and how different in different ethnic backgrounds the experience of menopause can be as well.
We don't talk about it enough, so thank you so much.
Yeah,
you've been very open about talking about menopause, perimenopause. What was the strategy? You knew something was wrong you knew you weren't feeling right, something was up. Yeah. What was the strategy you employed? And you've been very, very open about talking about your experiences.
Yeah, so a great question there. I think my strategy kind of, if I'm being honest with this one, I was winging it because I was bleeding a lot, and I didn't understand why I was having this heavy bleeding and everything else. And I went to my doctor, and I lived in Devon at the time, and I walked in there and my doctor said to me, I said, look, I'm bleeding and weeing a lot. And he said, well, you're not diabetic anyway. And he said, because look at you. And that's the thing again, which, why I'm an ambassador for Diabetes UK.
Me too.
Because because it was changing the narrative of, yes, I'm fit. I looked really slim. I was in Lycra. I looked toned. Yeah. But I was pre-diabetic. And also that's when I first realised that I had really bad menopausal symptoms that I wasn't tackling.
Yeah.
So how I went about it was going out to explore. And I say to every woman out there, fill up your toolbox with as much information as you can.
Yeah.
Take all your information to the GP. You have 10 minutes in the surgery. They are busy. They are snowed under.
Yeah.
Yeah. And almost have your journal of your symptoms, your symptom tracker, how you're feeling. Take ownership of your journey. Be your own health advocate. And that's what I did. I started to advocate for myself, and I was relentless, because that is the Olympic mindset. Keep knocking on the door. You're not getting the answers you want. I would like some blood tests. Okay, they're not conclusive. Okay, you go and find your friends around you, Dr. Naomi Potter, Dr. Juliet Balfour,
Shout
all
out.
these doctors, Dr. Nagat,
Yeah.
are there to support you. Dr.
Menopause
Zoe Williams,
Mandate.
Menopause Mandate, where we met.
Yeah.
Go and find these women around you. Lisa Snowdon, share real life experiences as well. Because if you share, you can start saying, oh, actually, it's a pattern. But also remembering that we are all individual.
Yes.
One size doesn't fit all. But so do your exploration, because it matters.
So I'd love to talk about how menopause impacts relationships. Just before we came on, we were talking about dry vaginas.
Dry vagina, low libido.
Dry vaginas and low libidos.
Hello. Well, stop there.
Yes.
Stop there. I often say to Matt, now he'll probably be embarrassed. My daughters will be cringing at this.
Do it.
I'm going to do it. Sorry,
Do it,
girls.
Michelle.
Sorry, girls. Mommy's
Go
being
hard.
outlandish.
Get out the room.
I say,
Mum is
Matt,
talking about my
Is it,
vagina.
is it still moist down there? He says, baby, you're good.
And what are you doing for that? Is it testosterone? Is it
so
patches?
right? So what I'm doing is I'm on full HRT,
Yes.
and I talk about this because it's working for me.
Yeah.
So I take estrogen, progesterone, and I take 2 pea-size drops of testosterone Monday and Friday.
Ooh.
And then I also take a vaginal estrogen,
Mm-hmm.
which everybody can take. That's something that I was told. Even if you've had cancer before, it's safe to take vaginal inserts inside.
Okay.
So I take those as well twice a week.
Oh, so you do that yourself? Or
I do.
you go to the
No,
doctor?
I do that myself.
Mhm.
Everything's all self, but prescribed from the doctor. So I
Mhm.
put those in myself. And what happens is you get vaginal atrophy as you get older.
Yeah.
So this is your vagina deteriorating, getting older, basically. And that
Like your
helps.
skin?
Like your skin, the elasticity,
Yeah.
the collagen, the supplementation
Yeah.
down there.
Nothing to be ashamed about. This is
Nothing
just,
at all, babes.
yeah.
It's yours.
It's yours. Let's crack on and do something
Crack
about
into-
it.
But also as well, when you talk about relationships as well, then what important thing is, jokes aside here, you have to be mentally connected as well.
Yeah.
And I think as you're getting older, if you're not on the same path
Mm-hmm.
as that person, not on the same wavelength as that person, it doesn't matter how turned on you are, or if you don't want to be with that person. That,
Literally.
and especially for women, that's an important side of it.
And it's like we're not only talking about vaginal dryness, but
Yeah.
also like brain fog and feeling like you're going
Absolutely.
crazy, and all these things
All
that
these
really
things
impact your relationship.
impact your relationship, and that you'll notice there's more and more arguments happening because you might be forgetting things, you might feel
Short-tempered,
inadequate,
irritable.
so irritable. So we get a lot of that. A lot of women have said how they're feeling, like a dark cloud. So these are things that are really important.
Yeah.
And there are times where 2 or 3 days of the month where I feel really flat
Yeah.
about being open about this, speaking about this, how's this impacting everybody? And I think being vulnerable, and
Yes.
sharing that vulnerability. Vulnerability is strength. Another one for our listeners to write down. Vulnerability is strength. It's not a weakness.
Beyond HRT, what are some of the practical strategies and lifestyle shifts that you found are really good for helping manage menopause symptoms?
So for me, it would be, as a personal trainer for 26 years and a life coach, number one, keeping moving.
Yeah.
Keep moving, strength training. I try and do strength training at least 2 times a week.
I love your videos. I scroll and I see you pumping iron, and I just go, I've got to get myself to the gym. And it's
Honestly,
like,
Ateh, but not even to the gym. This is another thing that I really want our listeners to just grab yourself a 5 kilogram weight, a 2.5 kilogram weight,
and just do it.
3 sets of 10 squats, go down on the floor, 3 sets of 10 press ups on your knees, back up again, 3 sets of 10 lunges. Just keep moving daily, stretch. Give yourself some time as well.
Yeah.
So morning, give yourself 5 to 10 minutes of your self time before you call a child, before you call your partner. Give yourself some time, and at the end of the day, give yourself some time. These are all things to help your menopausal symptoms. Cut down on your alcohol. If you drink alcohol, cut down. They don't help.
Yeah.
They make you hotter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I know
dehydrating.
they make you hotter. Look into your food, what you're eating.
Yeah.
And for me, I do intermittent fasting. That
Yeah.
really works well for me.
That's been
And it's
a
been
game changer.
well for me as somebody that's pre-diabetic, and now it's under control.
Yes.
That's really helped.
Well done.
And
Protein.
high protein is great. Greek yogurt with nuts, getting as much nutrients as you can.
Yeah.
This is your time to spend a bit of time curating a program that works for you.
Yeah. Love you. It's the ultimate self-love.
Self-love. The kid, you're taking the kid to tennis or ballet, or you're getting your husband. What about you? Prioritize you. These are things you're going to need with the symptoms, and crack that little window at night as well.
First of all, menopause affected me, I think, not as badly as it does lots of other women. But for a couple of years at the end of my 40s, I had terrible insomnia and anxiety. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, heart palpitating, worrying about, whether I'd shut the cat flap or bought milk or world peace, and it didn't really matter. Whatever it was, I would get equally stressed about it. And I went to see a number of different GPs. I did blood tests. I did all the things that you're meant to do. And, I got told I was post and not menopausal at all over the period of those 2 years. And then I finally went to see a very good gynecologist who went, I definitely don't need to do a blood test. In fact, as we've discovered, blood tests are not reliable, particularly during that period where your hormones are really going up and down, because they register different results, on a daily basis. Anyway, she diagnosed me and then said, right, I'm going to send you for a bone density scan. And I bring this up only because I was like, I haven't slept for 2 years and I'm really anxious. Bone density, who cares, And it turned out, of course, to be one of the many, many things that we really didn't know about menopause then. And this was only 10, 11 years ago. It turned out that it was one of those really, really treacherous underlying symptoms, which HRT can be incredibly beneficial toward alleviating, along with heart disease, but which nobody talked about. The only thing I knew about menopause when I was right in it was, periods stopped, you got hot flushes, and then disappeared. Poof! and that was it.
What are you doing differently in your second act compared to your first act?
Well, the great thing, because we talk a lot about the sort of negative things around menopause and so on, is the liberation once you're through it. And I don't know if it's partly tied up with the fact that we're told this is the worst thing that could ever happen to you, which it definitely isn't. It can be challenging. But the sense, there are things that happen naturally, biologically. The fact that you're no longer fertile means that your empathy, the loss of estrogen takes your empathy levels down. And suddenly, actually, you become much more selfish. You care about what you're doing in a way that you haven't done since you were perhaps a teenager, And along with that, there comes this sense that if I can get through this, I can get through anything. So again, a kind of strengthening of resolve, a sense of liberation, freedom. I mean, I had an accident with my HRT quite recently and ended up having my first period for 10 years. I cannot tell you how awful it was and what a reminder it was of some of the good bits of going through menopause. And so I think I'm stronger. I'm much more stable emotionally. And I've always, taken things on even when they made me afraid. But now I don't even get afraid. I just think, yeah, give it a go, be fine one way or another. And so I think, it's made me fearless. I feel liberated. I feel liberated by a loss of empathy. I'll now leave the kitchen for everyone else to clear up, or whatever. I think you can go onto the Menopause Mandate website and see testimonials from thousands and thousands of women where you can recognize the things you're going through, which is sometimes very helpful because it feels like you're not alone. But I think most importantly, you have to information up. That's the thing that I think is most helpful, because once we understand what's happening with our bodies, then we can make informed judgments about how we want to support ourselves through a period that can be quite turbulent, but you come out the other side and, you know, I think with renewed kind of vigor and a sense of freedom and liberation. So I would say, you know, arm yourself with information. If you can take HRT, consider it very seriously because it's the best support. And don't let what still lingers in society, that sort of, you know, judgment of maturing women, don't let it, you know, scratch anything more than your surface, because ultimately it's just completely unjustified and you're going to feel great very soon.
I hope you found this episode useful. It's proof that whatever you're going through, you are not alone. So please email in with your own menopause experiences and dilemmas. I always love hearing from you, and I'll be back on Monday with another brilliant episode for you.